Oh, how's it going? We're just getting turnt, as the kids say, heading into the weekend on today's Locked On Coyotes. Yeah.
Your Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes. I want to appreciate you all for tuning in and making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube and on the SiriusXM radio app as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am Robyn Leonio, your host of today's show. That's Matthew Jacobson right beside me. As we get ready for the weekend, we are excited. You know, the last couple of days, the first couple of days of this week didn't feel so good. Now we've been feeling, we've been pumped. We're kind of looking at these options. We feel optimistic. We went through and kind of just broke down each of 5 options. You know, there could be more, but each of 5 options that the Coyotes can build at, Matt. And we are going to tell you our top 3.
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone kept trying to tell us that you don't have options. You're not. No, you're going. Your options are Houston and Quebec City. I'm sorry. Keep selling out your junior hockey and bragging about it. I apologize.
It makes me laugh anytime someone mentions Quebec City.
This is dumb.
I mean, you saw what I tweeted earlier this week. I'm like, if you really believe that Quebec City is going to get a relocated NHL team, you're living in a fairy tale, and you cannot be taken seriously.
They could get expansion if we go to 40. Like if we get 40 teams in the NHL.
Because
it's a great hockey market.
I'm going to get that out of the way before we get to the top 3, because I know we're going to get to that, but I want to get it out of the way. Because look, let's be real. First of all, the Canadian dollar is not strong, so it makes it hard for the financial viability to put it there. 2, do you know the population of Quebec City? 500,000.
Oh, that was 7.
500,000. It would without a doubt be the smallest NHL market in the entire league. 500,000, that's smaller than Tucson.
Tucson's getting an NHL team confirmed? Wait, by that logic, that means Tucson. We are supporting Tucson getting a team. Thank you very much. That means the Tucson Roadrunners will be relocating to play out of the Madhouse on McDowell, or they'll be whatever, and we're gonna get a second team. We deserve the Battle of Arizona. If you guys deserve the Battle of Texas, we deserve the Battle of Arizona, because Arizona's actually the state of hockey. Like we're the up and coming state of hockey. You know, like we're a real good hockey market. And Cope,
100%.
This is getting clipped, and we are getting raked over the coals.
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to get it out there, though. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I want to hear it. I want to hear it so bad. But let's get to our top 3, Matt. Let's start with our 3 and 2. Because I think those are, pretty good to talk about. Start with number 3. We have it right there. What did we say it was? Oh yeah, start with number 3, Wild Horse Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Wild Horse Pass, again, I'll now explain it to people. It is in the Chandler area, just south of Ahwatukee, right off of the I-10 interstate. And the 202 coming from just south of South Mountain, and that connects the East Valley to the West Valley, and the 202 that goes to Queen Creek. Great location. I love it.
Mm-hmm. They meet right in the middle, and well, yeah, it's like we're talking about in the middle in the context of like trying to get the East and West Valley together. You do want more centralized location, but the fact that this is off of like 3 different freeways that will connect to bring you anywhere from North Phoenix all the way down here to the East Valley, as far as like Gilbert, bringing you on over all the way over to Glendale. If you're a madman in Buckeye, hopping on the 10, and it'll take you right over to where you need to go. It brings everyone where you need to go.
Even another thing, I'll add this one more. If you are a hockey fan in Tucson, you can access this a little bit easier because right off the 10, and it's like the first thing you get when you reach the valley. It is considered South Valley, I believe, like southeast. Yeah, so it's like it would take maybe, instead of a full 90 minutes, to take you 80, maybe an hour to get there if you're fast.
So Arizona, yeah, we're fast.
Yeah, you would like to drive faster. I know. But that's a good location. I like it. And you have a good relationship with the Gila River community, which is where Wild Horse Pass sits on. You're right next to a resort and casino. It is just a bunch of open land, so you can do what you want with it.
Yep, so long as you get the proper agreements and you make sure to figure out the revenue sharing, the revenue splits, how many more hotels you want, whether or not you can have a sports book there, all of it, it's ironed out, figured out. So, like, assuming it does, it's a great location. Like, it is. It's not the best location, but it is a good option.
Now, I'll bring this to bring up that question to you, and we both share the same thoughts. Why is it number 3 and not number 1?
The reason it's number 3 is just because it's a little, southwest. Like, yes, it's accessible for everyone to go over there, but it still is a bit further for some of the East Valley, where, again, that's where the money's at. West Valley's a bedroom community. East Valley is where all the money is generated and all the money stands. So you want to be as close to that as possible.
I mean, it's right next to Chandler, so, like, it's there still. But you're still further away from Scottsdale, so it kind of makes things a little bit tough on that end.
Because so many season ticket holders are from Scottsdale and Chandler, so you want to find that nice middle ground. Still a really good location, but not quite the second or first best options.
No, absolutely. You want to go to number 2?
Let's go to number 2, but I feel like we're forgetting something. I feel like we're right at the ad break time.
Oh, we are about the ad break time. See, we will get to number 2. What are number 2 and number 1? We will get to that in just a moment. But first, a quick word from our sponsors on the show. And today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Are you tired of sacrificing comfort for style when it comes to your activewear? Introducing Birddogs, the game-changing athletic shorts. Picture this. Premium shorts designed for maximum performance, combined with unparalleled comfort. Birddogs are here to revolutionize your workout routine with their uniquely built-in liner. These shorts offer the ultimate support and flexibility, ensuring you stay comfortable even during the most intense workouts. And here's the best part. Birddogs are more than just workout gear. They're versatile enough to take you from the gym to the street without skipping a beat. Designed with pockets that work, Birddogs give you ample space to store your essentials while you're on the move, so they're good with breathable fabric. Keeps you cool and dry with your activities, whether you're on the trail, the gym, or simply just lounging around. Birddogs are the shorts you've been searching for, so order your pair on Birddogs today, joining thousands of satisfied customers who have made the switch. Visit birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL and enter the promo code LockedOnNHL to get a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Birddogs, where style meets comfort and performance meets perfection. Get yours now and unleash your true potential. I want to thank everyone once again for making this show your first listen every day. Be sure to click subscribe. We got a lot of Arena Saga stuff to get through in the next couple of weeks. And just a lot of Coyotes content in the next couple of weeks. The draft is not too far from now, so we got to get everything going. But that said, we are continuing on today's episode. Let's count down to number 2, Matt, on our list here of the top most viable options for the Coyotes for their future. We went through all these options yesterday. Now we're counting down to what the best are. Number 2, you make a deal with the Phoenix Suns, make a partnership deal, and move in downtown.
And this can take form in many different ways. All right, it could be that the Matt Ishbia buys the Arizona Coyotes and either renovates footprint or decides I'm just going to build a new arena that will accommodate both. I bring up Glendale all the time when it comes to a hockey arena that you can accommodate basketball for. As long as you build it properly, it's fine. There is no revenue split. And one of the biggest things is NHL wants to own their buildings. Well, if you own the building, that's still one way to own the building. You could do a partnership where they go 50-50 on renovating the building, re-renovating it one more time to make it compatible for hockey or a little more compatible for hockey, or on a brand new arena in downtown Phoenix, you could tear something else down. One potential thing you could do is just tear down Footprint Center itself after they like renovate up, let's say Madhouse or Glendale, just enough to keep them there like for 2 years, like while it's being built. More likely you stay at Footprint while a different arena is being built in downtown, something else gets demolished. But there's so many different angles and ways you can go about it, whatever makes the most sense, so long as they can figure out the revenue split and the advertising, this and that. Look, it's possible, it's doable. It will be more simple should Matt Ishbia have the interest to just buy the Coyotes outright and say, I'll have a second toy. Well, third, because I have the Mercury as well. I'll have a third toy, and there you go. But there are so many different ways you could do it, so much versatility that no matter which way, whether you think, playing here temporarily to just destroy Footprint and rebuild it is kind of dumb, sure, but that's just one potential way you could make it work of all these different multitudes of ways you can make it work.
Yeah, and it's I like the idea of them being in downtown, especially like whether again you have that option of just completely rebuilding Footprint Center from the ground up, or heck, let's say maybe at this point the Diamondbacks had already found their way out. It's like they already found their new place. It's like Chase Field's empty, so all right, demolish that site, build something new. Put a new arena there that can perfectly house both hockey and basketball. Because then you're not too far off. You're still right off of a light rail line. That's the thing I like really much. So you're right off the light rail line, which makes it such a nice thing because you can easily get people from Mesa and people from, like the, just north Midtown area. So it's easy to get a lot of people into downtown, but high volume amount of people into downtown to get to these games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on top of that, one thing that we haven't had for a long time is Westgate. You kind of have to make the conscious decision to get there. One thing I love about the West Valley feel is the fact that we all have that their American freedom where you got your cars, you can go here and there. But the further east you go, it's a lot more public transport. It's a lot more, hey, we're already downtown. I'm going to this bar. I'm going to this restaurant, that Champion Sports District. There's a sports book, a bunch of bars, a bunch of restaurants. There's a lot of stuff to do in downtown. You can just wander around. Oh, what's going on at the arena tonight? And let's just say it's the temporary option or just the Coyotes, whatever. It's like you might deal with some bad sight lines, so you'll have some cheaper tickets, meaning some people will just kind of wander in. That's additional beer sales, additional pretzel and food sales, additional potentially hat, jersey merchandise sales, additional ticket sales, and potentially brand new fans stumbling their way in there. Or even like, I know about the Coyotes, but never cared to go. Well, that's your opportunity. And Javier Gutierrez talked how much about the fans in waiting. That's a good way to capitalize on it. And they just haven't had that. Mullet doesn't give them that because all the tickets are already pretty much sold out. Like, and it's on the college campus. You might get some college kids wandering in, but not too many. Like if it was on Mill Ave, it'd be different. Like that's right. A pretty good comparison. But you don't have that where you're at now. You didn't have that in Glendale, unfortunately. And you know what? That's a really good way to make more fans. And you can't tell me people haven't gotten bored and gone to some Rattlers, Mercury, or Suns games down there.
Especially, and you kind of touched on that with the idea that you see people kind of filing in that way. I'll give a really good example, I wouldn't say it's a perfect example because like people already knew about about this situation or like about what's going on in downtown of this city. Everyone knows I'm born and raised in San Jose. I've talked about it a couple times already this week. If you're going to a Sharks game, or let's say back then the SaberCats, you might be at a bar downtown in San Pedro Square or whatever, and then you walk down Santa Clara or Alameda Street on your way down to the SAP Center. Everyone's doing that. All of a sudden, you have other people in San Pedro Square or downtown San Jose. Wait, where are you guys going? oh, we're going to the arena. We're going to watch the Sharks. We're going to watch the Sabercats. Like it worked that way. You saw so many people walk in that direction. Like a lot of people walk in that direction. So something similar happened in downtown Phoenix for a partnership with the Suns and the Coyotes. They can bring a lot of people into both of those games.
Yeah, and it's something that downtown is unique in, and the only comparable would be where they're at now with Mullet, if Mullet was a bigger venue, because you'll have some college kids wandering around, but it's just not to the same degree, and people gather. Not to sound too bleeding hard on you, but people gather and like to get together and like to, hey, what's going on here, and socialize and form some friendships.
We're humans. It's our natural. It's natural in us to want to do that.
Mm-hmm. We are social creatures, literally evolved to be in groups. Like we're not quite like sugar gliders where we die without people, but like we're almost there. Like if we don't have human interaction, so it's like we love to gather and socialize, and that downtown is perfect for it. Which is funny because like if you're downtown, it is one of the weirdest. Like everyone looks, acts, is different visually when it comes to different sexualities, genders, races, and it's like, and they're all just hanging out doing like similar stuff.
Right. I mean, that's what makes it cool. That's what I love. That's what I love about it, especially when it comes to these teams when they put out diversity nights too. Hey, celebrate those people.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a really good option. I love downtown as an option, but why is it number 2 and not number 1?
It's just because it entirely hinges upon the assumption that Matt Ishbia is interested. Now, he seems very pro-consumer. I love the move of putting Suns games on regular TV again, and I love how he's like, we're not worried about making money. Now, that's kind of a lie, all right? He does want to make money, but his primary source of income is not coming from the Suns, and he even said the money will come. We want more eyeballs, and I mentioned on my personal Twitter when the news first came out, cynically, yes, you're going to increase the eyeballs, which increases the ad rates, which increases the amount you could charge to broadcast the games. That being said, that's a long-term plan. You're giving up money right now for the long term because you want to be accessible. And while everything has a bit of a cynical angle, he's still being pro-consumer, still being forward-thinking, and he's someone that I think if he sees potential to make some money and make some people happy as well, he seems like the kind of guy that would want to do that. And Morello, he likes making money, and like Craig Morgan mentioned on a different show, is that he also tends to hold on to his investments. So if you have that nice partnership, whether it's in a new building, whether it's in 50-50 renovations to make it a little more, doesn't really matter, re-renovate the building, you can still make that work, but it all hinges upon Matt Ishbia having the interest in wanting to do it.
And that's speculation. We don't know if that's the case. I mean, maybe he is. We don't know. Again, we'll find out in the next couple of weeks. But if that's a possibility, I think it turns from a possibility to holy crap, this seems like a very, very real thing. It also does seem, and because of that, because it maybe take a little bit back a little bit too, because Morello himself is committed to trying to keep the team here. So he seems to have a personal investment on making sure it happens.
And cynically, Sahara bets. Optimistically, regardless of that Sahara bets, he still wants the team here. And that's all I care for. I am like any one of you out there. I only care for him for his money because I just want the Coyotes to stay here. If it means, all right, billionaires got to make some money on Sportsbook, I don't care. As long as my hockey team is here.
I personally love sports betting, so I'm like, all right, go for it.
You dragged poor Carl to make him do some bets on your show, you sick.
I love it. It made me feel great. But let's go ahead and get to honorable mentions before we get to number 1. So we're gonna get to all those honorable mentions. Let's start off with honorable mention number 1, the other Salt River location at Talking Stick Resort.
Yeah,
it's a good location. It's actually a really nice location. You're right next to the resort. You're right off the 101. It's pretty easy access. The reason why it's an honorable mention and not in the top 3, and I think you mentioned it in yesterday's episode. You also mentioned it off the air. It is a better site for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, it makes more sense for the D-backs, and unless Kendrick sells, we get a nice billionaire owner that has that big vision, and it's like, hey, yeah, I can see it with Alex Morello. It seems like more of the D-backs would just do it themselves and try to do it a little more basic, so it fits them. To like me personally, that's just the way I see that. And it also would conveniently open up that nice plot of land for the Coyotes and Ishbia to make that nice new arena.
Exactly. Right. That's the reason why honorable mention. Plus, that's also another thing too. It's also right across the street from Salt River Fields. So,
Mm-hmm. So
like,
it works. You can also, hey, we want to use this or that, or hey, our training facility is right over there. Like it works. It works.
It works. So, like, sure, you can be selfish if you're a Coyotes fan and be like, you know what, I really like this location, I want it, but for the sake of sports in Arizona, we'll concede it to the Diamondbacks if they're able to make that happen. That's the reason why.
I like Matt Ishbia and I like the downtown site. I'm selfish. I'm greedy.
There we go. I love that. Honorable mention number 2, Fiesta Mall, the abandoned mall in West Mesa, just off the 60 west and east of the 101. Great location, ease of access, centralized, and as simple as just a private land sale. The reason why it's only honorable mention is because while the location is centralized, I don't think it's the most ideal. Everything around it isn't really developed as it should be, unless you go south of the 60. Mesa south of the 60, great. Mesa north of the 60, could be better.
Yeah, and it also wouldn't be quite as big as you would like for the extra stuff because arenas themselves, and it's one of the few things that the No campaign was correct about, arenas themselves do not generate the kind of economic development you would like, but the hotels, the retail, shopping, having additional housing there, that starts to generate the money, and the space probably isn't there for all of that. You could probably throw parking garage.
It would be a much scaled down version.
Yeah, an extra hotel, not casino, extra hotel. Maybe you can do some residential similar to Westgate, but it would still be really tight. It's not ideal, but theoretically, depending on if it is owned by a private entity now, you could completely skip over having to meet with the city because it should be zoned properly. It should be as simple as a land sale. That being said, that doesn't mean that it is, but theoretically should be, but it's also further down on the list.
It is further down on the list, there's a lot of things that could go right with it. There's a lot of things that they still have to take care of, make sure everything falls into place. Heck, I do firmly believe it is a private land sale, but that would also require Alex Morello to reach out to that private developer, drop a giant wad of cash and be like, give it to me. I want to do it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these all are contingent upon, hey, do they want to sell? And the only confirmation we have of any interest as of right now ties in very well with the number 1 selection, the most viable. And Robyn, you have a nice diagram, nice picture waiting for us. Lay it on us.
Here we go. And here is our number 1 right at the right on the Salt River Reservation land, just north of the banks of the Salt River, just north and east of Tempe.
Look at that dump in the background. Robyn did a phenomenal job highlighting in red.
Like if those that are watching on YouTube, see that orange outline in the background? That is the location of the Tempe compost yard where the TED was supposed to be. The red we're seeing right in front of us, that is where the Coyotes very well could be.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is so close. You can see both downtown Tempe so close You can see Sun Devil Stadium. You can see you can a little bit on this diagram. You can see a tip of Tempe Marketplace. It's it's a great location. You could be cynical, but also this land should already be taken care of for the most part. The Phoenix Rising used it in their earlier years before they went to Wild Horse Pass and then before they went to the airport location. So it can be used. And yes, my outline is pretty big. If you're making any comment, I just kind of did it in a quick, say like, hey, this is probably the entire plot of land. They can build in anywhere within that plot of land.
And it's right by Oceanside, which is not by the ocean. I love pointing that out. But like right there, you can see where the valuable dump is, and then you can see where this nice land is, where it's the only one so far that has any confirmation, not the land specifically, but with the owners of the land, the Salt River Indian community, having conversations with the Coyotes, a good relationship with the Coyotes. You can see everything in Tempe, so you could still partner with ASU. You can maintain those partnerships, maintain all your community events and whatnot with the community Iceplex. So much stuff you can still do while, not cynically not giving too much revenue over to the citizens of Tempe to throw you out.
Because you're on the east side of McClintock, which means that the revenue split is going towards Salt River, not the Tempe. If a district there or some kind of development there succeeds, Tempe has to just sit there and watch.
Yeah. Imagine that, just sitting there and watching. Because one of the main reasons I really thought the Tempe was going to go through before the referendum was ever a thing was, why would Tempe residents want to deal with the traffic and not the benefit? Because everyone knows that is like that. There have been conversations with the Salt River Indian community, and it's very much been implied that is the plot of land. They've also shown they've worked with with a previous sports team, which gaslit me, because I remember years ago driving through and I was like, wait, isn't that the Rising Stadium near Tempe, near ASU? And then one day I don't know where the hell it is anymore, and I'm just confused, and I've been gaslit.
And it's there, yes. I mean, you can still see like a fence in the way back side of it. It says Rising. So there's still some sign that it used to be there, but they haven't been there in a couple years. I think the Rising went to Wild Horse Pass in 2021, right after the pandemic, and then now they're, like I mentioned, now they're right at their location just off of Washington, next to, just north of the airport. But this location is perfect just for all those reasons. And you're right, yeah. Why would like Tempe, like especially even before with referenda or not, why would Tempe voters want the traffic but not the benefit? Because the exit they had to take is the McClintock exit, which is still on Tempe.
It is asinine. It is insane. It is bewildering, befuddling. It is. Yeah. I am confused and baffled, but you know what? Their loss.
Yeah, but you know what? And I will say this: Tempe will still get some minor benefit. There might be some people who decide to park at Tempe Marketplace, dine there because there's a lot of restaurants there at Tempe Marketplace. Maybe even do some pre-shopping or whatever, and then hop on over to the other side of the Salt River and go to a game. That's a possibility, and that's a way that Tempe still gets some kind of benefit, but nowhere near as much benefit as they would if they actually had it on site.
I'm just more happy that we can maintain the relationship with ASU, which regardless, they still will maintain that relationship.
Yep.
I just don't know what it looks like, if the Coyotes are back in downtown. Like I feel like it would be a little lesser than what it is or any other location. So it's like, I do like the proximity. And also, I still like Tempe. I might disagree with a lot of their very misinformed voters, but I still like Tempe. And forks up, boys. I'm not turning my back on ASU hockey.
Another reason why I also have this plot at my number one, and I think any Coyotes fan will agree with me on this, or they'll remember any of this. This was the discussion of a site that's been the Coyotes fans have been thinking about this site, not just maybe for not last week, not just for the last year. People have been thinking about it for the last 5-10 years. They look at
I'm
that
so
site
glad you're bringing
and
this
they're
up.
like, "Oh my god!" I like the 101 where the 101 meets the 202 north of Tempe on Salt River tribal land. Why don't we build there? Because we know Glendale doesn't want us. We're on the year-to-year lease at that time. Why don't we build there?
Can you
Now
bring back
is
up the
that
graphic?
opportunity.
Real quick, can you please bring back up the graphic? I want to show how full circle this has come. So correct me if I am wrong, but I do not think I am, because you can see the tip of Tempe Marketplace. That by the tip of Tempe Marketplace, you can see a nice little plot of dirt that used to be a golf course. That was the original site the Coyotes were trying to partner with ASU to build the old arena in 2017 before that fell through because the ownership group didn't have the money. Then you have Mullet. You have the Coyotes trying to build back there in the orange, the dump. And then right back over here in the nice red bit of land where it's perfect. The Coyotes and being along this freeway, the Coyotes and being in the East Valley right around Tempe or in Tempe, it needs to happen. It is a match made in heaven.
I am a firm believer that, and I kind of even had this thought even before we even did this episode, before we even did yesterday's episode, that the best site for the Arizona Coyotes will most likely be right off 202 Red Mountain. And if for those that are not Valley inclined and don't know what, not from the Phoenix area, 202 is a loop. So they have 202 different sides. 202 Red Mountain runs from downtown Phoenix all the way to the Red Mountain area side of East Mesa. Perfect location. Anywhere along that, unless you go too far into East Mesa, then that's another story. That's what makes this location perfect.
100%. Completely agree. And considering that if you pull back, if talks go smoothly, and you can, let's just say Matt Ishbia is cool and say you could temporarily be here, you break the mold at least a year early, so you only do 2 years, not 3, and then you're playing at Footprint Center just temporarily. And the opening date is 2026, 2027. That would have been about a decade in the making, trying to be in that Tempe area and making it happen. And it's a perfect location.
It is the perfect location. Absolutely. And we are running out of time here, so I'm going to turn to you for any final thoughts you might have on these top 3 that we mentioned today.
Let's get it done. And to the Salt River Indian community, we love your land. Please let us build.
I absolutely love to hear that. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including YouTube and the Sirius XM radio app. We're going to be producing as much content as we can over the next several months regarding the Arena Saga, regarding the draft, regarding all things Arizona Coyotes. Locked On Coyotes will be your place for Arizona Coyotes news 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter at @LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn_Leano. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. You should interact with us. Ask us a question you might have. Anything about the Arizona Coyotes. We'll answer them right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Once again, thanks everyone for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.